6:30. I'll open the Board of Selectmen and Board of Health meeting for Thursday, January 21st. It's 6:30. First on the agenda, I'll look for when we don't have to do this anymore, but the coronavirus statistics. Deb, you and John here?
I don't know if I don't see John. Oh, there he is. Hi, John. So I can give an update on the numbers. Well, as of tonight, we've just hit 200 since the beginning of this. Right now, we have 25 active cases in town. It's interesting. I was looking over the data today. So for the month of November, we had 28 cases total. For the month of December, we had 50 cases total. And now in January, on the 21st, we're already up to 51 cases. So we're seeing a trend line going, unfortunately, in the wrong direction. We did participate with Lynn last week in the vaccinations for all the first responders. And we're having one more clinic tomorrow for the people that couldn't make it last week, or for the first responders that might have had COVID and who have now recovered, because you can actually, if you have COVID, you can get the vaccine as soon as, you're recovered. So that will be the last clinic at the Lynn Tech for the first responders. And then hopefully we'll get more information about moving forward with the next tier of people to be vaccinated. We have a couple of active cases in the school this week. And we also now are seeing another outbreak at the Jesmond, unfortunately. So that's the update that I have.
Very good. John, you want to add anything?
Well, I can only speak to that food inspections have continued, and otherwise things have been rather quiet on my end in terms of the day-to-day work of the Board of Health. Everyone that I cross paths with expresses a concern over how things are going, not just in town, but in general with COVID-19 and testing and vaccinations. But that just means that the folks in town are in the same boat as everyone else. And we're just moving forward, hoping that things will come together. I try to pass along the information that I'm aware of at that time, but to each person who inquires, I try to remind them that this is one of the most fluid situations we can ever come across, and that their inquiries are appreciated because we are expected to know what is going on, and to be able to respond to their inquiries, we have to stay on top of things on a daily basis. So if people ask for specifics, I then go to the state website and try to direct people to it as well. So it's a constant interest, certainly, for everybody that I come across in town. And certainly the business people are wondering what it's going to be like in the spring and the summer and beyond. And unfortunately, at this point, we do not have any concrete answers. And it's important that we stay consistent and encourage people to stay the course, and remind everyone that we are all in this together. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, John.
John, did I see something about the 9:30 curfew?
Oh, I'm sorry. There were changes today announced by the governor. He held two press conferences, and there's rescission of several restrictions that are in place. One of which is the 9:30 curfew, which is rescinded as of this coming Monday. Yes, so that will affect certainly some folks. However, the caps on gatherings inside and outside is remaining in place for now. 10 and 25, 10 inside, 25 outside. So a lot of businesses are getting some relief from that curfew, but not the kind of relief that our our event facilities are looking to get.
Thank you, John. Tony, on testing, I know Deb touched upon it, but can you talk about that a little bit more? We're going to continue testing?
Right, so we are testing on Saturdays from 1 to 3 p.m. at St. Thomas parking lot. And it's the same as we have been doing, drive-through, no appointment necessary, free testing. We actually we postponed this past Saturdays to Monday because of weather.
Right.
We sent out a code red call and posted it on our website and social media to inform people. The last 2 days of testing and this weekend's Saturday's day of testing was essentially made possible because of the donation by Nahant Preservation Trust. We have exhausted all of our state funding for public health costs, and we had to go to the finance committee last week for reserve fund transfer for costs associated with the pandemic to help us bridge the gap between our previous funding and hopefully some new funding in the coming months. We did get some funding in there for testing, and we're hoping that it's a per test basis, so not every day. It's not a per hour basis. So in the 2-hour window, the busiest it ever was prior to Christmas and prior to Thanksgiving and prior to New Year's. We haven't seen those type of numbers, but those came in at about $7,000 for the 2-hour window. So we think that we have enough funding to get us to February 13th, the next 4 Saturdays, or 5 Saturdays. I'm not sure how many Saturdays that is to get us there. 1, 2, 3, 4, the next 4 Saturdays. And if we have more, we'll extend it another day. So for now, we're 1 to 3 on Saturdays. It's free, and there's no appointment necessary.
Well, that's good. You went to the finance committee, and I know that I did have a brief conversation with Emily at Hot Preservation Trust, and if we get into a bind again financially, please, let's talk to Emily. There may be a possibility that we can get another day or two. So from the Preservation Trust, but hopefully we won't have to go there. That's
encouraging. That is such a generous gift to the town, and for the folks, for the residents to have that opportunity to continue to just drive down the street free and no appointment. It's the most convenient opportunity for testing that you can have. So I encourage our residents to take advantage of it. We want to get as many people tested as possible. to try, like we've always been saying this entire time, that it's an 80% of the cases are asymptomatic. So you may feel great, and you may test positive. So get a test. It's worth it. It's free. It's easy, and it helps prevent transmission.
Gene or Josh, anything on COVID that you want to talk about?
No, I'm fine with that. I'm glad we were able to get some more money from the FinCon. That was a real good vote on that. Everybody was unanimous, but hopefully we'll be able to get some money from the government prior to that February 13th ending.
Hopefully. Okay. You all
We've
set, Josh?
also, sorry,
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Tony.
I just also wanted to say that the school, Tony Parentazzi and Kevin Andrews, who are doing a remarkable job over there, have thrown the Johnson Schools name in the hat to potentially participate in a pilot program from the state. So state-funded 6-week testing program where they would, for 6 weeks straight, test all students and staff for free at the school. It's a 3-step process. The first test is the rapid test. If you test positive on that, they'll pay for a PCR test. And if there's a conflict, they'll get a secondary test on top of that. But if we get picked for that, that would be another excellent, piece to the success that the school has already accomplished. The funding, the idea from the state, the funding is primarily to get schools to open up to in-school learning. And then some of it is to support and learn from the schools that already are providing in-school learning. So we fall under that second category, and if selected, our staff and students will get 6 weeks straight free testing. So that would be great if we get selected for that.
Tony, how do they test? Is that once a week? Is it once every 2 weeks or?
Once a week.
The pilot program is once a week for 6 weeks.
That's great.
Right.
Any update on the vaccine, either Deb or Tony?
Well, we don't have, I've received a lot of calls recently, as you can imagine, for people wondering when are they going to get their vaccine? We don't have any vaccine in Nahant currently. We, as I've said before, we are in a collaboration with Lynn right now. So tomorrow, I know there's a meeting scheduled to talk about more regionalization and what the next steps will be. I also saw, and you'll see it on our webpage that's being updated, you can click on a map of where you can get the vaccine if you are in that group. And when I clicked on places near us, the CVS in Salem was one of those groups. So for instance, if you are a home health aide, say, and now you're eligible to get the vaccine, you can register to go there, and you have to bring some form of an ID along with your home health aide license, perhaps. And you register you always have to register for your vaccine anyway. And you can get it. You can also, at this time, go to Fenway Park that just opened as a mega site. So more information is coming. I expect to hear some tomorrow when I'm at the clinic with the Lynn Board of Health, and then after that, at that next meeting. So, but right now, because the vaccines that are out there now, the Pfizer and the Moderna, we can't handle that vaccine on our facility. And aside from that, you need a whole team to do this vaccination clinic. It is not like the flu clinic. it has to be, all the vaccines have to be transferred into the state vaccine, what they call the MIIS system within 24 hours of the person receiving the vaccine. We don't really have the resources on board. We don't have people trained in this prep mod application that is required for that. So anyway, I will have more information, and Tony, I'm sure you will too after tomorrow's meetings on the next.
Debbie, is that phase 1 complete?
Well, they took phase 1 and they kind of made it 1A, 1B, 1C. So right now they're including, like I said, the home care workers, and they call them healthcare workers, and even in the non-COVID facing. It's a little complicated, but when you look at the list, it's a very extensive list of people who now, after the first responders, who can go forward. And then it will include also, finally, the grocery shop workers, the teachers, people in schools. So the list is going to be just, growing. And I think we're going to see it move a little bit more rapidly than we previously had anticipated.
Are all the first responders complete?
Well, after tomorrow, we should be.
Good,
And
great.
tomorrow is basically, like I mentioned, a makeup clinic for the people that missed last week.
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Deb. The last on the virus is the assistant health nurse, Tony. You posted that?
Yeah, so with Deb's been working countless hours between, signing on to regional calls, working with other communities, working with the state to make sure that we're up to speed with, the ever-changing, regulations or policies or guidance to nonstop. I'm sure she won't probably admit it, but I know she's making 50 calls a day, just contact tracing, dealing with all of our residents and advising them what they need to do when they fall into an active case type category. So add on the vaccine distribution, and we, in order, as Deb put it, it's not an operation that we can do on our own. So in order to be able to provide that to our residents, we have to support a regional effort by sending Deb over to Lynn, and she's helping just, administer the vaccine. And when she's there, there's nobody on the phone doing contact tracing. And, I know I get calls and texts and emails from Deb every day and all hours of the day. Doesn't matter if it's a holiday, doesn't matter if it's Sunday or Saturday or 7:00 at night. She's literally put her life on hold, since March for the better of the rest of ours. And it's taxing. It's a lot. And it's coming to a point where, with the vaccine and those added hours and the number of cases increasing dramatically, we need more help. It's that simple. She can't do it all. So we have I don't know if it's actually been posted, but I know we were putting the final touches on the description today. And some of that money that we went for the reserve fund is to support the cost. But we are looking for an assistant health nurse to help Deb, whichever way it's going to be helpful to her. So that will be on the website. We'll also put it on Facebook, and we will be advertising it as much as possible. And hopefully we get some nice qualified candidates that can help Deb out.
Well, certainly, I think everybody in Nahant understands what Deb is going through, and we appreciate her efforts so much. It's amazing. And I, for one, will support whatever effort you need to get some help for Deb. So, and I'm sure Gene and Josh feel the same way.
We do.
Okay, great. Let's quickly on. I know we've got a couple items here that some people are waiting for. So quickly, opening comments. A reminder that the winter parking ban is in effect until March 20th from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m. And again, if you want to get on the plow list for winter storms, call the town hall, talk to Christian, and maybe we can get your services to help plow. Under new business, any other opening comments, Gene, Josh, you want to say anything before we move on?
No, I have nothing.
Hey, Mark, should that be 6 a.m., not 6 p.m.?
12 a.m. to 6 p.m. 6 a.m., yes. The agenda says 6 p.m., but I got it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, got it.
Let's see. New business. We've got some licenses. Do you want to go through this first or skip to ongoing business, Tony? Can we get through this pretty quickly?
We can get through this pretty quickly, yeah.
Okay. So we have the approval of lobster trap storage license leases.
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
There should be a motion.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to open the file. One moment.
In your packet, there's a
Yeah.
motion and a list of
Gosh,
lobsterman leases that are going to
Yeah,
be approved.
so I can make the motion, Tony.
Okay.
I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the following 2021 lobster trap storage leases as presented, and further that the release of said leases are subject to the payment of all outstanding fees, fines, and payments to the town of Nahant to Tim O'Keefe, Rick Maletti, Jim Maletti, Joel Marie, Josh Mahoney, Mark Irvine, Justin Mahoney, and Tucker Allard.
I'll second that for discussion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Gene?
Yes, Tony, what about the other three lobstermen who have to get their, we'll call it house in order, before they're listed here?
Right. So I check on a couple things before I put them in front of the board. It's a rolling process. I make sure that the lease is signed, that the payment is in, and that the space at the compost area is, up to accord with the details of the lease. So there's a few of the lobstermen that have to meet a couple of those requirements before I put them in front of you for approval. And I'm going to provide them time to do so.
Okay, that'll work out. I will say one thing. I took a run down there today, and they've done all the lobstermen have done a tremendous job at organizing and keeping that place clean. And I'm sure these other three will be in line within a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get the other three in line in the next few weeks. And if there's anything we need to revisit for next year, Tony, in terms of the lease, we can discuss that then, but let's try to get through this season anyway. Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Josh Hanford, aye.
Gene Canty, aye.
Mark Cullen and I. Okay. Next on the agenda is common victular licenses. Josh?
I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the 2021 common victular license for the Nahant Life Saving Station as presented, and further that the lease of said license is subject to payment of all outstanding fees, fines, and payments to the town of Nahant.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
We, one Nahant Life Saving Station, was, their paperwork came in on time, but we just, we didn't add them to your list when you made the vote the last time around, so this is more of a housekeeping thing.
Okay, makes sense. I noticed that they had the floors done over, so look forward to going down there and seeing the nice new shiny floors. So good job, guys. So the motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Josh Antrim, aye.
Gene Canty, aye.
Mark Cullen and I. Okay, we talked about the American Legion sign.
So yes, Mr. Chairman, we have Frank Guidara and our town moderator on the call here, I believe, and
I see Bob Fields is here.
Yep, Bob Fields as well, representing the Legion. If you'd like to have them speak a little bit about this before you guys make your motion.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to ask them to unmute.
So Frank, are you unmuted?
Yeah.
Hey guys. Hey Tony, this is Bob. I'm off to the side. I'm with Frank, but we're socially distancing here. So can you hear me okay through his computer?
Very sneaky, but yes.
Yes. Very good. Very good. And we also have Dave Conlon with us from the American Legion as well. And I'm wondering, am I able to share a screen, please?
Yes. Hold on a second here.
There we go.
Try that.
Disabled screen sharing.
You're on.
Yeah, I'm on, but I'm looking for the presentation. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second.
Oh, there it is now. There it is. Took a minute. Great. All right, great. So I'll start off here a little bit. Appreciate a few minutes of your time here this evening, more for an informational post, if you will, about the post. You're right, Mark. We did have the floors done down at the Life Saving Station. We also, and actually, when I say Life Saving Station, I should mention that it's in the post portion of the Life Saving Station. We have also working with the NPT verified color codes, and we have a freshly painted post. So we took this time of not being able to open to really freshen up the place since we've been in there for a while. So we are super excited for this vaccine to get out and for being able to host the community down at the Life Saving Station again. But we are excited for 2020. Or excuse me, we're not excited for 2020. We are excited for 2021. In that, as you know, we had presented an application for an event this summer. So we are excited that we will be hosting the Wall That Heals again here in Nahant this year. This is our website, alpost215.org, where people can check in for information. But COVID permitting, we'll be hosting the site with the new health regulations that go along with that the wall is implemented as well. And that will be visiting our community July 15th through 18th this summer. So we're excited about what could happen there. And just as a reminder, the wall is a replica, basically a 1/3 replica of the Vietnam Wall in Washington, D.C. It is a very somber, moving experience. We're looking forward for veterans to be able to come and visit and for the community to visit, especially school children, to learn the history of the Vietnam War and the sacrifices made. And towards that end, we're also excited about another project in addition to the refurbishment we've been doing with the lounge. And that is, we've actually been working with the NPT for getting an official sign for the American Legion at the Life Saving Station. So we would like to present just some information. We know we need to go to the planning board. And I will introduce, if you don't know him, Frank Gadara, member of the American Legion Post and Vietnam veteran himself, that's been leading the charge on working with Lynn Spencer and the MPT for a sign. Frank?
Good introduction. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah,
Bob,
thanks.
as you know, is the commander at the American Legion and doing a great job. So, Bob, bring up the next picture, please. So this is the sign that we're proposing, 6 feet by 3 feet. And the wording is pretty obvious. It's the nature of the sign is, and the purpose of the sign is to make sure that it can be read from the Nahant Road as people come in or as they leave the town. So with that in mind, we've looked at the signs in town. The bottom right, you've got the Welcome to Nahant sign, which is pretty spectacular when you drive in, obviously across from Tides. And then to the upper left is the Johnson Elementary School sign, same shape, same color. This kind of sign exists throughout Massachusetts. It's a terrific sign and with the block lettering well read. So we used, with the help of the Nahant Preservation Trust and Lynn Spencer, along with Jeff Mussman and Emily Post, came up with the sign that you just saw that we're proposing. We looked at 3 different areas for the sign to exist in front of the iconic Nahant Life Saving Station. And the next sign, the next post, this here, shows you it in relation to the building. Those 2 windows directly behind the sign is where the American Legion meets. And that's where the beautiful floors and the beautiful walls, and with the help of some restaurateurs in the state, we'll have new furniture in there as well. The sign there, near the fence, will be easily read. We have 2 suggestions here. One is that the post and rail fence gets notched and the sign is in front of it, which could bring it lower so it's not too imposing. Or if the planning board doesn't agree with that, it can be behind it. It just has to be higher so that the focus of being able to read it is met. That's pretty much it. We think it fits with the sign. I mean, fits with the building. It'll be in time and for the wall being shown in July, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Bob, and thank you, Frank. I am 100% in support of this. Wherever you and MPT thinks this sign should go, I would support it, and I would appear before the planning board in support of it myself. So I think it's great. And I really do want to thank all of you in the American Legion in general for heightening the profile of the American Legion over the past several years. It's really, really marvelous, and I'm so appreciative that you guys really are bringing this to a new level.
Thank you, Mark.
Great, thank you. Yeah, it's our honor to work with the town and to support, our local veterans, working with the town veteran services officer during our food banks, which is the first Wednesday of the month. We volunteer for him and operate that as a contactless operation down there. And recognizing and remembering those veterans who may have passed as well. So we appreciate your support as well. Again, the wall will be here this summer. It's hard to believe that it's actually only 6 months from now. So there'll be more conversations about, preparing for that over the next, 4 to 8 weeks, I'm sure, and getting prepared for that. So we're excited to bring that as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Hey, guys, just a quick question. Does it necessarily have to say Nahant, Massachusetts on it?
No, it really doesn't. for obvious reasons. They're in Nahant. We left that in there only because of it had been proposed by the sign company, working with Honan Sign, who has done the signs in Nahant, and we thought that would make sense. And that could come out. If we can get the letters a little bit larger and more
Yeah.
readable, that makes sense. Good catch, Gene.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Gene. I know that the Board of Selectmen don't have a vote on this, but I would certainly, Gene and Josh, welcome a motion to support the efforts of the American Legion and the Nahant Preservation Trust to get this sign in place. Maybe they can bring that letter of support to the planning board.
Great,
So
Great.
made.
good idea.
Motions are made. Do I hear a second?
Seconded?
Motion is made and seconded. For any discussion. Well, I'm thinking, Tony, if we could draft a letter of support from the Board of Selectmen that they could use for their application to the planning board.
I probably am about to say the most unpopular thing I've ever said, but I certainly appreciate all the efforts. But to be perfectly honest, I wish it was a little bit smaller. I know it's not our jurisdiction, but just being honest, I do wish it was a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Just one man's opinion.
If I may, Josh, understand that, and we were concerned about the size of the sign. It really depends on whether we can get around the fence. If the fence isn't blocking it, it can be smaller, as long as remember, the goal is very simply to be read from the road. If you look at the sign to the left, it's an informational sign about the iconic nature of the life-saving station. Can't be read unless you're a walker. Our sign is all about being read from that road. So yes, it can be smaller, but it would require the DPW to do some work with the fence.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate the explanation. And again, it's certainly not a indication of lack of support for the American Legion, which I
Understand.
really support of. Just my own sense of aesthetics. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not, this motion is not to necessarily support the design, Josh, but their effort in putting the sign there. And I'll leave the dimension and location and all of that up to the planning board, I guess.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okay, motion been made and seconded. No further discussion. All in favor?
Josh Antrim,
Gene, you there? Well, Mark Cullen and I.
Stepped away, but that's all right. I will, we'll get that drafted. Do you guys have a date for when you will be in front of the planning board yet?
We reached out to the planning board today to find out when they meet next, so we can get in front of them. Haven't heard back.
Okay.
When do they meet, Tony?
Okay.
When do they meet?
They meet pretty regularly. I'm sure within the next couple weeks. So I can find out though, and keep an eye out for when you guys are on the agenda. Make sure that the Board of Selectmen's letter is read at that meeting, and I'll relay the support from the Board of Selectmen and myself. I know we spoke about this at the Veterans Day event, and I think you guys are doing it the right way, bringing it to us, and through the planning board and going through all the right steps, and it's not a digital or electronic sign. It's a very classy looking sign that matches the rest of the town, and so I'm supportive of it as well. I echo what the chairman and the other members of the board mentioned.
Excellent. And once again, from all of us at the Legion, thank you all for your support. It's been extremely helpful and a great event.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks, Bob. And thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Quickly, let's preserving East Point. Tony, you just have an announcement for our next meeting here on the 27th.
There was also a question in the chat from Alice Court about whether the sign needs to go in front of the Conservation Commission in May. So we'll send over our support to the Concom as well.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat room. What was that, Mr. Chairman?
We have preserving East Point. So as
Oh,
we
yeah.
were discussing the last several weeks, we hope to have our attorneys who specialize in eminent domain to have a dedicated session next Thursday night at 6:30 via Zoom and cable TV for a presentation of the process, the meaning behind eminent domain, the process behind eminent domain, various options of eminent domain. We'll open it up to questions and answers to the public. What a goal here is to make sure that people understand what eminent domain means and what it takes to enforce it. I don't know if I missed anything, Tony.
No, that's exactly right. It will be broadcasted. It'll be through Zoom, but we'll broadcast it onto our local TV as well, our local TV channels, just like we are tonight. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Josh or Gene, anything on this subject?
To point out that it'll be a Zoom meeting, and we have a 500-person license for Zoom. So I'd encourage people, as many people as possible, to get on Zoom so they can participate in the Q&A if they have any questions. It's a great opportunity for everyone to really learn the facts about eminent domain. In particular, obviously, as it relates to Nahant and in the context of the financial impact, as we discussed with FinCom last week. So I just want to get the word out. Over the course of a couple of years, there's been a lot of speculation about eminent domain and what its costs may be and what the process is. And it's a great opportunity to learn the facts straight from the horse's mouth, from people that, are accustomed to the process and are experts in that process. So hope as many people as possible can participate in Zoom. And if not on Zoom, then watch on TV and learn. I'm looking forward to it myself.
Great, thank you.
I just pair it with Josh said, and participation is tantamount to this, to understanding it.
That's right. Thanks, Gene. I know. Sorry, everybody, but I noticed I took things out of order there. Let's go back now to ongoing business, and we have Spouting Pond Road subdivision easement here, and I noticed we have a number of people here talk about this. This is an easement at the end of Spouting Pond Road. The purpose of the easement is to protect and make sure that the town's infrastructure is open and accessible. I know we have attorney Robin Stein from KP Law, who's representing Nahant. And we have attorney Smith, I believe, who's Steve Smith, who is representing the applicant. Robin, do you want to go first on this and explain what this is? And
I mean, it's pretty simple, and you should each have at this point, if received by email, a copy of the easement signed by the property owners, as well as the 3-page plan that's Exhibit A to the easement, just so we're all on the same page. The applicant came in to do a subdivision plan of Spotting Horn Road extension to create one additional lot, and it turns out there was some existing town water sewer infrastructure already out there. So the purpose of the easement, since there wasn't one in place now, was just to make sure the town had the access it needed to be able to service that existing water structure. They're not actually changing anything on the ground as part of the subdivision. So more just cleanup than anything else, but where you all are the water sewer commissioners, the process is just now that the planning board has reviewed and approved the easement and they're all set with the plan to have you take a vote to accept it. and then it can go ahead and be recorded by the applicant along with their subdivision plan.
Sounds good. Attorney Smith, anything to add to that?
I'd be repeating what Attorney Stein had said, and I don't want to take up the board's time. I'm certainly available to answer any questions the individual board members might have. And if you just determine to go forward with this, the process for finalizing this, the conveyance.
It sounds good. So this has been before the planning board. I did look at the planning board minutes on this. They have voted to approve this, and basically you're just following one of their requirements. And it requires a vote of the Board of Selectmen to accept easements so that it can be recorded. So do I have a motion to accept this?
Probably. Let's see.
Give it a shot. I'll second it.
Well, I'm looking for it, but I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the easement as presented.
It would just be
Seconded.
to accept. Yep.
Motion to accept. Okay, is that seconded?
Yes.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Josh and Jean, at some point, you'll have to go up and sign this at Town Hall, as I will, so that they can record it. Any further discussion?
Nope.
If it would be not out of order, Mr. Chairman, if the board should accept the conveyance of the easement this evening, then I would have the document bearing the original signatures of the grantors of the easement available at Town Hall tomorrow morning to be reviewed and signed at the board's convenience.
Okay, well, I'll be able to get up there. Hopefully, if Jean and Josh, they could get this recorded.
Yep.
And it'll just be the easement and then the 3-page plan, just to make sure the document's all set for everyone.
Absolutely. That was my oversight, not including the Exhibit A that was referenced in the conveyance. But it has been distributed since then. It will be part of what's brought to Town Hall tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Steve. All in favor?
Josh Hedrum, aye.
Gene Canty, aye.
Mark Cullen and I. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you all. All right. I'm going to jump off then because I don't believe you need me for any other matters. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay, Tony, we have the DEP consent.
Yep, Dan Scripps on town council's on the line as well. So we've discussed this, I think, in a couple meetings in the past, but just to give a quick background to this is, the town of Nahant has experienced multiple sewer main breaks, as well as receiving pressure from the state, like many communities, on inflow and infiltration issues with our sewer system. So, water, non-sewer water infiltrating our system, whether it be because of breaks or non-watertight sewer caps, or some pumps, being discharged into the sewer system. So the state, is pressuring every community to fix those issues, as well as due to our, fairly consistent recent track record of sewer main breaks. We were issued an administrative consent order from the state that over a 2-year period has a number of key requirements, dates that we have to meet according to the agreement, or according to the order. A couple of those we've already met. So one is II, Inflow and Infiltration bylaws. So we've drafted that. Dan's drafted those. They'll be featured on the town meeting warrant this year. We've submitted those draft warrant that draft warrant article to DEP for their review. Conducting and submitting our phase 1 and 2 CCTV engineering report to Mass DEP. So we've had an engineering company in town over the last year or so, essentially sending a camera into our sewer system throughout town, cleaning any debris in the system, and basically creating a capital plan based on levels of different breaks or issues within our system. And we've submitted that to Mass DEP. The effective date of the administrative consent order was actually December 22nd. January 21st, today, was another key date where we had to provide them a schedule of design for our construction on the force main on the Linway, and we've done that. We submitted that to them today, and now they're going to be reviewing that. We'll be working with the state on a construction traffic plan, and hopefully we'll be getting that job out to bid in the coming months. And a number of other things like an emergency response plan for when we have potential future breaks, and things of that nature. So I just wanted to, this is it's a big issue. Not only are we, for our own reasons, been pushing to fix our sewer main and our sewer system, we're now, required to do so by the state. So just keeping the board and our residents informed of that process and the steps we're taking there.
A lot of work, Tony. Thank you. Thanks. Dan, anything to add to that?
No, Tony encapsulated it. We're on time, and as long as we're on time, those penalties will never come to fruition. So the next date is February 8th, and I'll make sure that we're all ready to go when that date comes to pass.
Okay, thanks for the update, Tony. Gene or Josh, any comments on this?
No.
Okay. All right. What do we have next here?
Tree City Arbor Day Proclamation.
Okay, so I'm going to read that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's a motion.
Do I read the proclamation first?
Yes, please.
Okay. Celebrate Labor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and to promote the well-being of this and future generations. So said, dated the 21st of January, 2021.
So Arbor Day this year is April 30th, and this is part of our initiative to become a tree city, which we spoke a lot about at the last meeting. So we don't have to go through all of that again. But
yeah, great. Thanks to Vi and Nancy Cataldo, Vi Paytech, for putting this all together. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we're on to the town administrator's report.
We didn't mention last night's, under preserving East Point, I don't know if you want to mention last night was the initial Concom meeting,
Yeah.
for the notice of intent. And our
I
next
could do-
step. Yeah, go ahead.
I could do that, Tony. So the Concom heard the initial sort of overview of the Northeastern's notice of intent for both the construction of their facility and another notice of intent for the upgrade of their water intake. So they submitted the notice of intent. I noticed I was on the call. There were about 150 residents I saw on the call, so it was a pretty good turnout from the town. We're coming back. They're coming back on the 17th of February, is it?
Yes,
That's their that's the next Concom meeting.
Yeah.
And I know that we're not going to be making a the Concom's not going to be making a determination in NOI at that time. It'll probably be on the agenda for further discussion.
So one of the items is that that Concom is asking Northeastern to fund a peer review process. A peer review process would be the town hiring a consultant who is experienced in these matters to assist the town in reviewing the notice of intent. Is that correct, Tony?
Yeah, it's required under the Wetlands Protection Act that they pay for that.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so unless we hear something differently, we'll be tuning in on the 17th of February.
Yeah.
Continuing the process. Okay. Town administrator's report.
Okay, so I am going to quickly just share my screen here so that you can see what the Eland City app looks like. If you can see this screen here, this website, we are looking at getting this app integrated into our toolbox of communication devices. This would be a free app for our residents to download. It costs nothing. And essentially what it is the virtual message board that we utilize now at the entrance of the at the town at the end of the causeway. That same message we can input into this app, and it can be it alerts folks on their smartphones, whatever message we put up there. So, we're constantly trying to find ways to improve our communication with residents. Everybody has a smartphone nowadays, so this is a great app for us to be able to utilize for, a number of different things, whether it be a snow emergency, a special event, school closure, a number of different things. And it's quick and easy. And as soon as we finalize the design and it's ready to be launched, we will be promoting that probably pretty regularly in these meetings, and then as well as through our social media website and probably on the digital message board at the beginning of the causeway saying download the app. So we're excited about that. Any questions on it?
Yeah, it beats the blinking lights for the snow emergencies, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Tony, I first saw this, I'm like, oh, what's this app, and after I looked at it, I'm delighted about it because as you may see or maybe saw recently, one of the goals for 2021 is, to enhance the communication with the public from the town. So I think a lot of progress has been made in the past year, with the new Facebook page and the COVID page, obviously the flashing sign, but I think this thing looks great.
I think people are tired of hearing me interrupt their dinner too with a phone call. So, this will be another way to get them with a quick little message that doesn't involve jumping on listening to a 2-minute voicemail from me.
Yeah, so Tony, that's a good point. Would you eliminate the red code or whatever we call it on the
No,
phone?
I think we
A
have
lot of the elderly don't have the smartphone.
we wouldn't eliminate any tool. We would add it to our belt. So we have Code Red, we have the message board. We'll soon have this app. We have Facebook, our website. We're looking at expanding into Twitter or Instagram and other social media ways, and also our local TV channel. So usually what we do is, depending on what the message is, it gets sent up to Kristen in our office, and there's a host of different options to choose from when a department head wants to get a message out to the community, utilizing any of those tools. And it depends on what it is. We try to reserve Code Red for probably the most important stuff, because you don't want to be bombarding people with phone calls, so we would still use it for certain things, and this would just be in addition to that.
Sounds good. And I agree with the words that Josh said. It's a good platform to get the message out. Gene?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, great. Okay, budget process update.
Budget process update is by charter, or by bylaw, January 31st is the last day that citizen petitions can be submitted for warrant articles to be included in this year's town meeting. So just wanted to remind folks of that. We have our town meeting will be May 17th. And right now we're in the process of developing our annual budget, which will be in front of the board at the next Board of Selectmen meeting to be voted on and sent over to the Finance Committee. We met with the Finance Committee last week. I know they're meeting. They're actually just launching their meeting right now. And, it's going to be a busy. I see Michelle's text. Maybe I said the wrong date. I'm sorry, May 15th. Apologies. Thank you, Michelle. May 15th, the third Saturday of May will be town meeting. So we are in the process of finalizing our meetings with our department heads, putting that budget together, putting the warrant together. The Board of Selectmen have the ability to open and close the warrant probably for another month or so for any changes that we need to make. But we're in full budget mode already. Allison Nieto, our new town accountant, has been fully submerged with budget process and has been doing a great job so far. And her and Debbie are they're on the Finance Committee meeting right now, since we're having our Board of Selectmen meeting. So I wanted to make sure that folks knew or were reminded of the January 31st date. I also see a question in the chat about previous articles that were deferred from last year have to be resubmitted. So if it was a citizen petition article that we pulled because we were trying to limit the size of the meeting due to COVID, they don't need to be resubmitted. The Board of Selectmen will sponsor them, so they're on the warrant. Anything new would need to be submitted by the 31st.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we get that to the,
Go ahead.
we get that information to the finance committee, in 2 weeks. And then, they have it for about 8 weeks. They go through their process before it gets sent to the printer and eventually delivered to the doorsteps of every resident, or voting resident of the town, a week prior to the meeting. So, once again, this year, we will likely be be outside at Flash Road Park. We'll see, depending on COVID restrictions, if we have to be 6 feet apart from each other, or if we're able to be shoulder to shoulder. Hopefully most of our community is vaccinated by then, and we can save some space. And we're already in the process of reaching out to vendors to secure them for that date. Well, actually, I spoke with the moderator earlier today too about, if we were to, it's quite a lengthy warrant already. So if we were to roll into a second day, would that be, Monday, or like it has been in the past, or would we wait until the following Saturday? So that's a detail. That's one aspect of it that we're still figuring out. And there's a lot to it, so I'm not sure if I missed anything. I'll ask if you guys have any questions or comments. Happy to answer them.
Well said. I'll give you a call later in the early next week to go over some of the budget issues too that I had on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all set.
Okay. Okay. Citizens Forum. You have anything in the chat room, Tony?
Nothing that we haven't already discussed.
Okay, great. Okay, we're going to be going into executive session soon, and we're not going to be returning. So let me just read this. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 22A6, to consider the lease of Kelly Green's golf course to R&B Management. B, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for contract negotiations with the town administrator. And 3, pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, Northeastern Marine Science Center, 430 Nahant Road, Nahant. If the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. Again, we're going into an executive session. We will not be returning. So we need a motion to adjourn this session. Yeah.
No, we should declare that we're not going to come back
Yeah.
into open session.
We're
And
not
you need to
coming
declare
back.
that we need to go in executive session to protect the negotiating
Yeah.
position of the town.
Okay, I did that.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you at our next meeting.